Alright everybody, welcome back. So I figured we'd go back and look at an old favorite of mine, especially because this thing is not getting the real shatter treatment like so many other props are in next patch. Uh, Here's a list of the ones that are getting it. Y'all already know guns have gotten much worse this patch, and they're going to continue doing it, it seems, even though we are all screaming at them to revert the change. Hopefully, we get more word back on the next Q&A from the devs about, some changes, but in the meantime, I figure we can go ahead and take a look at this thing. I'm assuming they're not going to go ahead and give it real shatter next patch because it wasn't in the dev changes, but you never really know. If they do, that'll be the end of this plan, unfortunately. But in the meantime, at least, the ME-163, it's a bomber killer, right? Well, it's also really good at killing fighters. It has absolutely insane performance for the BR, sitting at a battle rating of 8.0, and the best part about 8.0 is that for some reason you get sucked down to 7.0 or 7.3 almost every game. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with the Matchmaker right now, but I absolutely adore it. It's one of the best things about this planes. Like, this Matchmaker you're seeing me playing in the background, I was getting this pretty much every game. I think I got maybe 3 up tiers in 9.0 in the entire time I was playing it for this video, and even in a 9.0 match, it still has plenty of performance. The absolute level of thrust, energy retention, and everything else, in addition to, the guns actually killing when they hit, makes this plane incredibly fun to play. Now you can see in the background my entire team is dying right now, which has left me by myself. Unfortunately, just like any other plane, there's only so much you can do. This plane is much better at carrying than many others, just because of that performance. But when there's just so many people, and then combined with how the servers are at the moment, you'll be seeing what I'm talking about here in a second. I'm going to die in a little bit. But in the meantime, I do get a really nice little dogfight here in the Meteor, and you can see I'm not having any issues whatsoever keeping up with him. And the Meteor is one of the more maneuverable jets of the BR. I'm also faster than him, and my guns do more damage, as you can see right here. I just disassemble him, take off both his wing and his tail in a single hit. This is one of the things I really missed. By the way, if y'all haven't seen my video talking about Real Shatter and the economy changes, I highly recommend you check it out. I'll have it linked down in the description. But once again, I actually managed to do substantial damage to a MiG with a single hit. Now, I don't hit at center mass, which is why he didn't actually die. Although, unfortunately, I don't get hit here, at least on my end, and I still do die, because the servers are amazing. You can see those shells were above me, and I still took critical damage and got set on fire. Now, the ME-163 is pretty compact. It makes it much more difficult to hit, but the problem is if you do get hit, you are almost certainly going to take critical damage, and you'll either get set on fire or just go kablooey immediately, especially because your pilot is directly in front of your engine, which is, in your fuel tank, which has highly explosive rocket fuel inside. So, speaking of the Matchmaker, you're going to see a lot of people like this right here. He is probably very new to jets. He has no idea what he's doing, and I just get to click on him with a 30 mil, and his entire plane disassembles. This is very fun. Same thing with this F-86A5 over here. You're going to be seeing a ton of people at this BR that don't really know what they're doing anymore. Because unlike getting up to your, that 9.0 region where you see a lot of the older planes that people still enjoy playing, I mean, not many people are playing, these Meteors and early Sabres anymore. You're going to be getting a ton of people like this Meteor NF13 right here that are also just trying to grind up a new tree, and unfortunately for him, I just outperformed him in every way. That Meteor NF13 is actually pretty good. It's got the same engines as the Meteor Mark 8, but the absolute level of performance I have, there's nothing he can do, really. I'm sitting here pulling 10 Gs at 530 kmh, and while still maintaining quite a bit of energy. And then I just pull around inside of him and easily get the kill. Really not much he could do, unfortunate for him. Now, there has to be a reason why it's at 8.0, right? Well, yeah, one of the big things is going to be the fuel that this thing gets. It maxes out at 6 minutes and 9 seconds of fuel, something like that. Definitely around 6 minutes either way. And while it is enough for most matches, you do have to be very conscious of it. You can see right here, when I'm engaging this F-80 right here, I'm down to 1 minute and 20 seconds of fuel. Now, what I was doing beforehand while flying towards him is running, around 40% power. It has really nice drag, so you don't have to worry too much about it and a lot of extra power, but just crank it up to 100% when you're in the fight, and as soon as you're out, go ahead and drop it. Now, I do pull an oopsie here. I thought I heard him passing me, but it turned out it was just that friendly. And then I see the Meteor NF13, which is the guy I was trying to keep an eye on the entire time. Now, this does put me in a bit of a bad position, but it's not a huge deal just because I outperform both the F-80 and the Meteor F-3, so I'm not really going to have any issues here. Although I do absolutely whiff my shot on this F80, which will come back to bite me in the butt here in a little bit. I should have killed him right there. I'm just not used to the, how the velocity changed on these guns. Now, I do want to say, you see how those shells almost hit me right there? Well, he's about to shoot at me again and be farther away and somehow manage to nick me. These servers, what is going on? Now, you can see I do actually pop out my landing flaps there for a second, just get out of the way of the F80, which is what saves me. Those landing flaps are going to give you a ton of extra lift. You can see right here, I pop them out again, and I am easily turning inside this Meteor F3 right here. They provide so much lift. Now, one thing to keep in mind, they do slow you down a lot, and they only work at like super low speed, so they aren't, all powerful. But when you do get to use them, you're going to turn inside everything at this BR, except for maybe like a prop, but they shouldn't be up here anyways. Now, I do whiff my shot on that Meteor just because he goes up at the last second, and then I'm not going to be able to get my gun on here because I can't get my nose down. These flaps provide so much lift that my elevators can't control it. But it really doesn't matter. I don't know if he's not popping flaps at or if he just wasn't able to, but I'm still able to get easily inside him. I click on him once his tail falls off. This is what I enjoy. This is guns doing damage. This is fun dogfights. This is really nice. Now, since you are going to be getting down tiers most of the time, you are usually going to be one of the fastest planes in the match. You're going to be fighting stuff like F80s, F84s, Meteors, of course, LA200s, LA15s. Now, LA200s can outrun you, but you don't see them very often. Sabres can outrun you, but once again, you actually have to get an up tier for that. And I only got a couple 8.3 or 8.7 games, so most games you are going to be able to run people down. The problem is you're not that much faster than them, and so quite often you'll run out of fuel before you're able to get there. So I would avoid trying to chase people for long periods of time if possible, although if you really have to, you can just go to space. Now, I know some of y'all are probably going to be asking me about the 8.7 one with the 20 mils. That is the ME-163BO, and it is a decent aircraft, but because of that 8.7, you lose that really good Matchmaker, and then you don't have the guns that hit like a truck anymore. Now, MG-151 still do damage. They didn't get the realshatter treatment either. You can see I just read this F4D. But if you can get used to aiming the MK-108s, which, by the way, can't really hit someone like past like 700 meters, I would recommend doing that. Now, one little trivia. This plane can actually break Mach, which is pretty funny. It does rip at like Mach 1.05, and it's not really useful in most matches, but it is something to keep in mind, and if you really want to show off for your friends, I guess you could do it, using your World War II rocket to break the speed of sound. So this plane has been incredibly fun. You just got to avoid, head-ons, just like I did right there. You have literally the slowest guns of this BR. Anything that you go head-on with, its shells will get there before you. So fire, pull off. If you get a nice cheeky little head-on, great. So either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. I really enjoy making it. And if you did, feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I make videos twice a week, and I'd be really happy if you stick around. So feel free to let me know down in the comments below what you think of this plane, what you think of realshatter itself. I think y'all already know my opinion on it. But in any case, I'll see y'all next time. So, peace, y'all. Stay frosty.